Chapter 6, From Victim to Victor, the Detox Path. Are you a victim? You can be completely honest. Now, I know that in our society, it's not exactly a good thing when people come out and say they feel like they're victims. But if you want to fully detoxify from all the pollutants in your life, you have to come clean. You have to be authentic and true to yourself. And I'll share a little about me. I was raised without a father figure in my life. No man ever showed me that fatherly love. So when I was first loved by men, I didn't know what to expect. I had no frame of reference to measure it against. And oh boy, have I had a tough time at this whole love thing. I pushed away good guys and embraced some who have been nothing but bad for me. If one were to observe from the outside, they'd surmise that I am merely a victim of my father's abandonment. Now, I could have worn that badge and bedazzled it too, and honestly, I did for a while, not consciously, mind you. I was operating in a world that didn't exist. I was looking to a man to solve my heartbreak. That wasn't working, and it was never going to. I was the only person who could heal me. It took me 4 decades to get this, to truly feel it throughout my cells, and when I did, I have experienced the most liberating of freedom to love, not only others, but most importantly, myself. Now, if none of this makes sense, ask yourself the following questions. If you check at least 2 of the boxes, then chances are high that you are a victim, or at least you consider yourself one. Do you think that you're entitled for life to be fair? Does it seem like everybody misunderstands you? Does it seem like no matter how hard you try, things just don't work out because you're unlucky? Does it seem like people are conspiring against you or just don't like you? Does it appear that you don't have the skills you need to get ahead? Are other people to blame for your childhood? Are other people to blame because you're not happy today? Is your boss holding you down and paying you less than you are worth? Do people in your relationships have a tough time discovering the real you? Now, if at least 2 of these questions ring true to you and apply to you, chances are you are a victim or think that you are a victim. So claim your victim status. Remember, we're keeping it real here. It's difficult to solve a problem if you believe you don't have one. For example, it's very hard to get an alcoholic to stop drinking if they don't think they're an alcoholic. If they have no problems with how much they drink and what they drink, then they're not going to get any better. There's no problem to solve as far as they're concerned. There's a reason that rock bottom is a thing. It's critical to a person's recovery. The same analysis applies to your self-victimization. If you think you're a victim, then now is the time to get that moment of truth. Have your own come to Jesus moment, right? You have to be clear with yourself. This means that you have to be completely honest with yourself. Now, at this point, you may be working with the assumption that you are some sort of victim. Ask yourself, am I really a victim or am I just acting like one? Do I think like one? Do I experience the world like a victim? Now, please understand, this is not victim blaming. That is an inexcusable thing in my book. Nor am I trying to make you feel bad about yourself or put you on the spot. But until and unless you can accept the fact that you've been playing the victim game or whipping out the victim card at every given opportunity, things are not going to change. Your life is definitely not going to change if you keep this up. Own up to it. So is this what you're doing? Do you see yourself as some sort of victim? Do you always see yourself as the underdog? Do you see yourself as the person that things are happening to instead of the person that is actively making things happen? And you have to be completely clear here because if there's any kind of victimization, then you have to look at it straight in the eyes and accept that this is happening. If you are in any kind of state of denial, progress is impossible. So how can there be progress when you deny that there's even a problem in the first place? You won't be able to fix what you need to fix. Stop blaming other people in situations beyond your control. This is a critical mindset shift. When you blame other people, you're actually handing power over your life to those people. Think about that. This logically makes sense. Since you say that they caused your problem, then this automatically means that they will have the solution. Now you've spent all this time blaming other people and unwittingly transferred all the power to change your circumstances from your hands and placed it in theirs. So obviously this is not empowering. This is not helping things. This is only going to make your life worse and worse. Now, sure, it feels good to have some sort of emotional release. I mean, who doesn't feel good when the weight of responsibility is lifted off their shoulders? But here's the kicker, and the fuel to the victim's fire. When you feel like you're a victim, you don't have to change. Other people have to change. Doesn't that feel good? Oh, it's sure so easy to do. But the problem is you pay a very hefty price for that sense of emotional release or even your sense of vindication. That sense of vindication you feel when you blame other people, like your father abandoning you or your mother making you feel like garbage, that comes at a very high price because you rob yourself of the power to make something out of yourself. Now, of course, most people don't phrase things this way, but in operational terms, psychologically, this is the effect. So here's the truth. The people you're constantly blaming, they're gone. Seriously, they're living their lives. Maybe they have new families. Perhaps they've moved on. As traumatic as that experience may have been for both of you, maybe they've died. They're not in any way, shape, or form feeling your anger, hate, and resentment. The only person taking the brunt of all that emotional damage is you. Stop beating yourself up. Stop rehearsing that very painful image of a traumatic past. Nobody's being helped like that by this, especially you. Now, side note, working with a trained therapist may be a good way to bring some of these issues to light. Trust your gut. If you need a professional to help you work through this, by all means find someone. Your future self will be better off for it. Take ownership today. Take ownership of your life. I know this is easier said than done, but you have to do it. Not your father who was emotionally absent, not your mother who may have been domineering, not your ex-boyfriend who may have screwed with your head, and not your girlfriend who may have betrayed you, but you. Say to yourself, yes, I've lived my life as a victim. For all this time, I've blamed other people. Now I'm going to stop blaming others. Instead, I'm going to say it's my fault. It's my responsibility. It's been long enough. I own this. You have to make yourself say these words or something more specific if you want, and you have to mean it. For example, yes, I've lived my life as a victim. For all this time, I've blamed my father. Now I'm going to stop blaming him. Instead, I'm going to say it's my fault. It's my responsibility. It's been long enough. I own this. Until you are able to say that you totally own your life and that you made everything in it happen, or you've let it happen, nothing is going to change. Now, please understand that everything that happens in your life was either chosen by you or you let it happen. Now, wait, before you start rebutting, I have a point and an exception. Why? Because you could always control how you respond. Okay? Let that sink in. The only exemption is trauma from early childhood. There is ample research showing that this can mess with our development. Enlisting the assistance of a skilled therapist may be warranted. So as you read this ebook, a bolt of emotional lightning might hit you. Now, obviously, you did not cause the trauma, no matter what the abuser is it caused. They chose to abuse. You did not choose to be abused. But I can guarantee you that you have total control about how you respond to that unfortunate circumstance. Retake that sense of ownership you have over your life, because that power to choose is the only real power you have. So here's the good news. The power to choose is the fountainhead of all possibility in your life. Reclaim that power and you can turn your life around. Dig deep. Unless it hurts, it's not real. Now, quick warning. It is very easy to just go through some sort of intellectual laundry list of the things that you should own up to. Everything that I've said prior to this point is very easy to mentally compartmentalize and treat like some sort of academic information. Many people do a good job of lying to themselves, basically, because they go down the list of all their screw ups, and at the end of the day, it doesn't change them. They intellectually accept these, but they don't develop a sense of emotional urgency. In other words, it doesn't cut close to home. Deep down inside, on an emotional level, there's still this hermetically sealed compartment in their mind about who is truly at fault. You can say to yourself that you allowed your father to harm you. You could say to yourself that you have allowed your mother to run your life and make you feel miserable. You can repeat that in your head like a mantra. But the problem is until it reaches you on a deep and emotional level where you completely own it, nothing will change. There are so many people out there who have gone through counseling who know their issues, but they refuse to change because refuse to change because whatever revelations that they have that they come across simply remain lists in their head, ready for recounting to throw down the victim card. This victim role becomes their identity. They subconsciously wonder, who will I be if I'm not? Now, the what comes after not is whatever victim card they choose. Now, these truths have to burn. They have to get your attention, or you'll continue along with the status quo. Now, tough love point of clarity. You have to make a fool out of yourself. You have to feel that you've let yourself down. You have to feel that you've really screwed yourself over. In other words, you have to stop running away from the impact of these emotions. Put simply, you have to do the things that you've been fearing for all this time. Now, the good news is once it hurts, then you know that this laundry list of realizations is true. If it doesn't hurt or it seems so glib or inconvenient, then you're just playing mind games with yourself. You're just wasting your time. There is absolutely no detoxification happening.